There was a turkey on my table in the backyard of my house, literally 2 feet away from the door. I was shocked because that was the last thing I was expecting to see that day. And as you can see, his leg looks hurt or something because it's up near its belly, and I didn't know what to do. So I just went to go watch some TV and whatnot, and an hour later, he's still standing there. So I knew something was wrong. But eventually he did go away, but was limping, and I could tell he was definitely hurt at that point. So after that day, I noticed that the turkey was wandering our backyard again, and he kept coming back to our backyard and our neighbor's backyard, and I decided to call it our neighborhood turkey. I have a wild turkey who's been sticking around my house for 4 years or so. He used to have 2 male turkey friends, but he teamed up with one to run the third one off and then eventually harass the second one into leaving as well. He's been the sole survivor for about 2 years now. The summer before last, there were a few females hanging around to eat the birdseed with their babies. He didn't bother them, except to do his sexy gobbling. The ladies left with their offspring in the fall, but my faithful boy remained all through winter, all by himself. This spring, however, he has forsaken his human mom. I'm thinking he has gone where the action is. I was worried that he died or been killed for the month or 2 he was absent, but I'm happy to say he's returned the last 2 Fridays and Sundays. Just those days. He gobbles up birdseed and gobbles a hello when I talk to him. Too weird. Several years into our marriage, I hosted our first Thanksgiving dinner. I ran the dishwasher overnight, but it malfunctioned. On Thanksgiving morning, I discovered that my plastic-handled flatware had melted into what looked like a display at the Museum of Modern Art. Luckily, the local houseware store was open. I bought replacements and ultimately did serve Thanksgiving dinner, albeit 2 hours late. But it was years before I hosted another major family gathering. Thanksgiving was at my aunt's house, and I had promised to bring 2 pies, but not my new puppy. Slugger was 6 months old. Determined to impress, I baked a magnificent pumpkin pie with delicate pastry leaves embellishing the crust, and a blueberry one with a buttery woven lattice. I triple wrapped the pies in foil and headed out for a run. I returned home to find half-eaten pies and a purple puppy. While we drove through South Carolina to visit my family for Thanksgiving, our Brooklynite friend was full of questions. He studied the passing landscape with a worried look. How's the economy down here? I see some areas built up, but there are these long gaps between them. My brother, a Southern gentleman, thought a moment, then answered, "Down here, we call those gaps farms." Days before my wife and I got married, I was invited to my future in-laws for Thanksgiving dinner. We all brought something, and I volunteered to bring a Caesar salad. I called a restaurant, and they actually gave me their recipe. It called for 5 cloves of garlic, but at the time, I didn't know the difference between a clove of garlic and the entire head. I'll never forget the look on my future father-in-law's face when he tried to eat that thing I created. "What's tart?" he said. On Thanksgiving one year, I was racing home from work because I had several guests coming over for dinner. The only thing I still needed was a centerpiece for the table. I wanted a decorative squash, so I rushed to my local store and hunted for them until I saw the store manager. Flustered and out of breath, I yelled, "Are you out of your gourds?" To which he replied, "Why, what did we do this time?" It was Thanksgiving, and preparation was in full swing. Suddenly, the power went out. I went downstairs to reset the circuit. I heard murmurs as I went back up to the kitchen. There stood my mother-in-law, who had the job of mashing the potatoes, holding the electric beater like a pistol. Bullets of mashed potatoes decorated the walls of the kitchen. An hour later, we sat down to Thanksgiving dinner, with fewer mashed potatoes than usual,